Hey Geeks, what's going on? My name is Brandon. Welcome back to the Geek XP. We are here for our next Steven Universe episode review. And what an episode it was. Today we're reviewing I Am My Mom. So this episode kicks right off the heels of last episode of Are You My Dad, where at the end of that episode, Connie was taken by the Topaz Fusion and Aquamarine along with all of Steven's other friends when they were captured and Steven was sort of knocked out. So the episode opens, he's like, one of the crystal gems, like, we have a problem, we need to rescue these guys, and because they have this new sort of element to this, and that if these homeworld gems take these guys off-world, they don't have a ship to go get them back. They'll be gone, and they will have no way to get to them, unless they somehow, like, fix the hub and use it, you know, after they broke it again. So that's where the episode begins, and so, you know, Steven says, it's an Aquamarine and a Topaz Fusion, to which Pearl is, like, freaking out. Like, obviously, these are pretty powerful gems. And, you know, in the last episode, when I did my review, I wasn't sure if Aquamarine was the name of the gem, but that's the name they're going with. And then I forgot that, you know, the Topaz gem, it wasn't their power to, you know, divide themselves and then merge back together. They were a fusion because they had the two gems. So that was a duh moment. But since they're an Aquamarine and a Topaz, they're two agents from Yellow and Blue Diamond, respectively. Steven is unsure why they're taking his friends. He says, because my friends are the best. But then when they track them down to Funland, they show up and it's revealed that this list was, as I suspected anyway, that Steven had let slip these names at some point. And it was actually, I wasn't sure if they were going to reveal the exact time of it, but it was revealed that it was when he was talking to Peridot back at the kindergarten when she was checking in remotely via Homeworld, and he was just trying to be friendly. He hadn't really grasped at that moment how dead set Homeworld was on destroying the crystal gems, about taking Earth. And so when he approached Peridot at the kindergarten, he was very friendly. He wanted to try to make friends, you know, tell them about Earth, and unwittingly gave them some information that has endangered his friends, and it really affects him through this episode. You know, we see him sort of like fall apart. He's not focused. He's, you know, just all plagued with all this self-doubt and all this concern, and it affects his ability. He can't fuse. It's affecting his ability to fight properly. So, you know, he is just like devastated by this information. And the gems, I think they could have taken these guys. I really think they could have, if it weren't for the fact that the Topaz Fusion had so many humans inside. Like, I think Garnet probably could have taken on the Topaz Fusion. I don't think the Topaz Fusion is as strong as someone like Jasper, and Garnet was able to take her on. It's the fact that she couldn't really hit them without risking hurting some of these humans, and then combined with Aquamarine, whose wand is OP as hell. At the end of the episode, she uses it on like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people, including a 4-gem fusion, and it's crazy how powerful that thing is. So between the two of them, the gems are handily dealt with, and then things get dark. So they're fighting, and Aquamarine is just like, Topaz, I know my memory is perfect, which I'm pretty sure that's an actual thing. I don't think she was like using hyperbole. I think that's actually a thing Aquamarines probably have, is that they actually have perfect memories. But they're talking about, like, we need to bring in these humans, but do we need them alive? And we get this, like, nasty shadow, and I'm just like, jeez. Like, the gems have, you know, the Homeworld gems specifically have been shown to be kind of brutal, but this was a level of intensity that we haven't seen in this show, really. And then Topaz grabs Jamie's head. And the shot, there's this, like, moment of stillness, as well as this bass that they play. And it's almost like blowing out. Like, it's too loud. Like, whatever they were audio mixing it, it's like the levels are way too high. So it's intense, and it sounds like the sound of it, you know, that bass is so low and intense, it's an unsettling feeling, but it almost simulates the sound of like a crushing noise, which when, you know, Jamie's head is like being pushed up against the Topaz Fusion, and it's got him in its giant hands, and I'm just like, oh, like, that's a grim way to go. Like, that's really dark, and it was, the threat was there, it was real, and I was just like, oh, this is intense. And so Steven, you know, sort of sacrifices himself. He says, I'm my dad. I'm the one you're looking for. Take me in. Aquamarine doesn't really question it for too much. She just wants to get out of here. Most homeworld gems don't really like Earth, you know, except for the ones that we know who have spent time here and now are our friends. And so Steven looks to the gems when he's about to get absorbed into the topaz, and, you know, they're acting like, do you have a plan? And he sort of gives them this thumbs up, and I'm sitting here thinking, like, awesome, Steven's got a plan. Unfortunately, his plan doesn't totally work. So Steven's idea is to, once he's inside of the topaz fusion, expand his bubble out from inside, which isn't a bad plan, but he underestimated how, and in his own words, how thick topaz is. And he can't quite burst with his bubble. So then Aquamarine's like, awesome, we have what we needed, and activates their ship, which was hiding, disguised on the top of the, what is it, a Ferris wheel? Carousel? Carousel. At Funland, and they go inside of their ship, and the gems are sort of powerless to do anything at this point. So they're inside the ship, they're getting ready to go. You know, all of Steven's friends are like mumbling, or Jamie's like going on some poetic diatribe about how doomed they are. And Steven is there trying to focus, trying to get his bubble up. Aquamarine's getting impatient, but then, you know, Steven's able to focus, and his plan works, and he does use his bubble to burst at least the fusion. At first I thought he managed to like poof the topazes, which would have been great, but no such luck. The topazes are still intact, just not fused anymore. So everyone's like falling out of the topaz fusion, and Aquamarine, you know, she's super high on herself. She's just like, you know, if I never have to come back to this planet again, it'll be too soon. And, you know, like, but, you know, the diamond sent me, you know, because I'm the best. So, like, dealing with these guys right now, especially, like, a group of predominantly humans, is beneath her. So she leaves it to Topaz and Topaz to deal with this, which is good for our heroes, because otherwise things would be pretty grim. So the Topazes reveal their weapons. They're these, like, little mace things that come out of their ears. And Steven and Connie are in the combat. Onion is off somewhere. So with Jamie, they're like hiding for most of this sequence. And Lars and Sadie are having an interesting situation. Lars is freaking out. He is not dealing with this situation at all. I mean, we've seen in other episodes he doesn't really step up to the plate. Sadie does, especially in the Island episode, where we see her deal with the invisible gem mutant or gem creature monster. You know, she steps up to the plate when it's needed. Eventually, you know, Sadie's trying to get Lars up, and Sadie gets grabbed by one of the topazes. And this is the moment for Lars to overcome his fear and step up and, you know, do something for Sadie. She's already stepped up and done something for him and saved him in a dire situation. But this was his chance. He pulls it together for a second, but he breaks. And he runs for it and he hides. And Sadie doesn't scream at him. She doesn't get mad. She just goes, Lars. And she's disappointed. She was really hoping that Lars would be able to step up and, you know, be, you know, there for her like she has been. But he isn't. And it might be the last straw. I think it might actually be the last straw for Sadie. Because in the episode beforehand, the good Lars, you know, she even says, like, maybe I should stop trying to fix Lars's life and just worry about managing my own. And I think this might be the straw that breaks this camel's back. I mean, it's a pretty big straw. And I think it actually will turn out for the best in the next episode or two, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe she doesn't pine after Lars anymore after this, because that was a do or die moment, and he did not do. He did not do it all. And so this combat ensues. Steven and Connie are trying to do stuff, like, are trying to deal with the topazes. Connie's like, let's fuse, and Steven just can't seem to get it together. You know, he's so worried about, you know, he's destroying himself over, you know, it's his fault that all of his friends are in danger. That they're in this situation, the ship is in the air, how are they going to get back? And he's so unfocused, they're not able to fuse. They almost get hit by Topaz, but he manages to block it at the last second, but he's not fighting as well as he could have. And Connie's like, Steven, you need to focus. Like, Connie's on point. Like, props for Connie. Like, she is... Thank God for Connie, because, like, she is handling this situation. And I understand Steven being, like, super frustrated and, like, super worried and, like, distraught by this. You know, it makes sense. You know, he made a mistake a long time ago, and it's coming back to bite him. But he's saying things like, you know, if it weren't for my mom, you know, if it weren't for me, you guys wouldn't be taken. If it weren't for my mom, you know, they wouldn't even be here and, you know, just trying to destroy the Earth. But that's not true. If it weren't for his mom, Earth would already be a colony and humans wouldn't exist. So if it weren't for his mom, they wouldn't be in this situation, but they wouldn't be alive. So I think Steven's being a little too tough on himself, and also Rose Quartz. Yeah, she sort of started a war and saved Earth, but caused problems for him down the road. But if it weren't for her, there wouldn't be an Earth or humans to fight for. It would just be a hollowed out gem colony. So that's a little harsh, but it, you know, it's really affecting their ability to fight here. So at this point, Aquamarine's getting really impatient. She says, Topaz, pull it together. Let's get this done. Because she doesn't want to leave atmosphere while there's a fight going on. Makes sense. So Topaz refuses. Now their mace is like a double-sided mace. And Steven and Connie are like, we need to get out of here. Get to the door. The ship gets like jostled, and they open the door. Connie saves Sadie from one of the Topazes. They get to the door and they open it, and Alexandrite is there. They all fuse. Of course, like, it's the best card to play. They got the ship, and they're like, bring us down to the water so we can jump. So they pull him down, and Jamie's like, he's freaking out still. Onion is just, of course, he runs, does his perfect dive. It's hilarious. I love it. And the rest of them are jumping. Steven's picked up Jamie, and they jump, and Aquamarine comes back in with that friggin' wand. It's too powerful. It's able to grab Onion, Jamie, Sadie, Connie, and Alexandrite all at once. It's ridiculous. And, oh man, she started out kind of cute when we first saw her in that episode, but God, Aquamarine was getting on my nerves. I tell you what, they did a good job of making this character annoying because she's powerful and she knows it. But she's also really small, and I want to see Garnet, like, punch her in the face. And she's like, I'm not leaving here without this job being done. I don't fail. This is not my thing. And there's also that looming threat that she will kill Steven's friends if she doesn't get her way. So that's going on. And so Steven decides to try to change up the situation again. He alters the deal so that his friends can be safe. And he says,
I'm not my dad. I'm my mom. I'm Rose Quartz.
No way.
And Aquamarine knows how much of a big deal this is. Like, if I can bring in Rose Quartz, you know, that's worth way more than these humans that Yellow Diamond wanted me to get. Only because, you know, of some report she got from Paradox, which defected. So Aquamarine's like, yeah, I'm down with that. And at this point, with Aquamarine lets all of them go. The beam also dissipates Alexandrite, which is crazy. I don't know if they were just out of time for their fusion. And everyone's like, Steven, don't you dare go. Like, and Steven's like, this is the only way I can fix this. My mom wouldn't want this. And again, like, I understand where Steven is coming from, but when Garnet says, like, no, this won't work, she's right. Like, even if Steven gives himself up, and God forbid is shattered / killed, Yellow Diamond is still going to want to burn Earth to the ground. Not even make it a colony, because it is a physical representation of what Rose Quartz fought for and what Pink Diamond died for. Even if Steven gives himself up, Earth is still going to be Homeworld's target. So I understand Steven's thought process, but this isn't the way to go about it, unfortunately. It sort of solves the current problem, but there's still a larger problem at hand that needs to be dealt with. But I don't think he's thinking that far ahead. I still don't think he fully grasps the level of villainy that these Homeworld diamonds are, you know, capable of. So we get this beautiful moment where Garnet's like, no, don't do it. Amethyst's like, I will kick your butt if you don't get back down here. And there's that, like, in her voice line, her sort of, like, voice breaks from being angry and aggressive to just sort of broken and sad. And obviously Pearl is just, like, totally broken up, like, tears streaming on her face. She's like, Steven, don't. And then Connie's like, don't you dare, which is adorable. Like, the couple level is ridiculous. Super cute. And Steven just sort of turns as he's getting to the ship and says, I love you. And the ship takes off. Steven is now by himself with 3 gems that the crystal gems couldn't take out by themselves. Granted, they don't have human prisoners to use as leverage against him, but he's sort of on his own. Gems can't help him, but he's not totally alone. Previously in the episode, we talked about a lot. Lars hid when Topaz grabbed Sadie. Now, that might be that might spell out the end for Lars and Sadie as a potential couple. But it also might be Steven's only chance, because I think everyone forgot about Lars. No one else thought, where's Lars? We can't leave the ship without him. And the gems weren't too, the homeworld gems weren't too concerned about having a stray human on board. So everyone has totally forgotten that Lars is still hiding somewhere on the ship. I imagine Steven will get imprisoned, be held somewhere, have no way to escape. But Lars will be able to help him get out. And maybe Lars will be able to step up and help Steven escape. And we'll have to see. Maybe they'll hijack the ship. Maybe they'll be able to get the gems off and be able to fly back to Earth. Steven has had some experience in some of these kinds of ships. But they'll still have to play it by ear. Or maybe they can get Aquamarine to fly it back for them. Although she's pretty powerful, I doubt she would bend to the will of a human and a half-gem. But the episode ends with Steven flying off into space aboard of the gem ship with Aquamarine and the Topaz fusion. Now we're sort of left to wonder as to how he's going to get out of the situation. He's had to step up multiple times in previous episodes, and this time he's going to have to step up in a different way. He's been a good leader, he's been a good negotiator, he's seen solutions that other people didn't suggest to problems that they didn't know how to fix, but now he's totally on his own. He has to save himself and Lars, although he doesn't know it yet, from a situation that even the whole Crystal Gem team would have a hard time getting out of. Who knows, maybe Peridot will be able to construct a ship with the assistance of Pearl, and they'll come in and save them, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that this is a problem that Steven's going to have to solve by himself, and I'm really excited to see how he does it. I'll be interested to see how he's inspired to escape. Because if he just escapes, Aquamarine and Topaz will just come back and kidnap his friends again. He believed when he made this choice that it would save his friends if he gives himself up. I don't know how far he's willing to take that. If he's willing to fight his way out of it now that his friends are out of direct harm's way, and they can sort of recoup and fight them back now that his friends aren't inside of a gem fusion. But maybe he will realize just, once you've brought Rose Quartz home, maybe they'll talk to Yellow Diamond. She'll be like, once you brought Rose Quartz home, we'll send the fleet and we're going to destroy Earth. And Steven's like, crap, I need to get out of here and warn everybody so we can get ready. Or maybe Lars will convince him to get them home. I don't know if Lars is in a position to inspire anyone, as his morale is probably at -1 billion. So we'll have to see. I'm really excited to see how Steven gets out of the situation. I'm guessing it might span 2 episodes. We might get a little 2-episode arc here to see Steven escape this current conundrum. But I love this episode. It was intense. It got really real there for a second, with the consequences being death. And it wasn't that just the characters just said it. We saw, what they were going to do to these people, and it was really grim. Really, really grim. That would have been a really nasty way to go, and James just Steven! And, Steven has to make these hard choices. I don't know if he's making them with the correct mindset, but they're his decisions to make. And, it's understandable why he would be so distraught by this stuff. So, and we're left with a great cliffhanger for the next episode, whenever it comes out. I don't know if we're on another, hiatus break, but I'm excited for the next one. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode in my review down below in the comments. Make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, and if you enjoy what we do here on the Geek XP, make sure to subscribe for future comment and to hit that bell icon so you get notified every time we have a new episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have been awarded some Geek XP, and until next time, stay geeky, my friends.